I chose to read and review Foundation because my favorite genre of literature is fantasy, and I wanted to branch out a little bit further beyond that, and the next branch, I think, is sci-fi. Now, when I read about sci-fi, Foundation and Dune were placed at the top by readers, and I've seen a little bit of Dune on a movie, that old movie, not the remake, and it always looked a little grotesque to me, so even though I've tried to read it a few times, I haven't exactly worked myself up to it yet. So I started with Foundation, and it has been a good choice, especially because I've also read I, Robot in the past by Isaac Asimov, so this was a natural extension. Something I found special about Foundation is that it seems to defy genre. We know it's technically a science fiction book, but it can also fit under different categories. But while we're at the start, I would address a discrepancy. It's that these famous sci-fi books and movies, most of them have been made in the past. And now, at a later standpoint, we find their preconceptions of what the future technology will look like a little bit dated. Well, this is the trap to avoid. I would say we should be mapping our own expectations of the future, like skyscrapers and flying cars and gadgets that seem to work by magic and lights and all that, on top of these novels, and then they'll read freshly, even today. Beyond that, the second genre I would attribute to Foundation is mystery. All along the way, there are these hints that are given, and at a later time, new information is revealed, so you can make the connection and wonder how you could have missed it in the first place, even though it was right in front of your eyes. So this actually seems to intensify the plot and make it much more interesting. That I have learned giving a little bit of a mystery element to most any novel might make it even more interesting. So, on this level, I would also call Foundation an adventure novel, especially because the whole time the main characters are running away from these people that want to capture them, and they're on this one planet, but it has multiple worlds on it. They're called districts, and each one looks different with different people and customs and cultures. So there's this world building. Alongside that, there's great character development. At first, maybe the characters looked a little bit dull, but by the end, they're extremely deep. And you wonder how they could have gotten there, but it happened gradually all along the way. So it's almost like when we meet people in real life, they seem kind of normal to us, but as we get to know more about them, we see that they're far deeper. And besides that, the novel can also function as a political work. The hero, Harry Seldon, he's a mathematician and he's trying to work out this psychohistory, as he calls it. It would be studying history to derive patterns and be able to come to predict the future, which seems exactly what Karl Marx was trying to do. There are also instances of class struggle with the ruling class and the working class not being able to find an understanding, and how that affects the shape of this empire on the galactic level. Also, there are elements of philosophy. One idea was when Haman tells Harry Seldon, why go down one path that you are not sure will meet the destination when you can at the same time follow another path? So give yourself twice the chances of success. So this is decision-making theory. All very cool to explore. Another idea I found fascinating was what is called the Zeroth Law of Robotics. It is the idea that a robot is supposed to help humanity, or at least not by inaction, hinder them. So what happens is these robots are making these calculations whether they should interfere or not, and in which way, except sometimes it's not clear, just like in real life. And it's compared to how humans function too. And it is said that a human has space to make a mistake and still live on. But a robot gets stuck between these multiple options and has to become inactive or basically shut down. Except I didn't quite see it that way. I thought it's almost the same with humans. Sometimes we run into a situation and we don't know what to do. It's almost like it is said, you are damned if you do and damned if you don't. Well, that's the idea. You're damned either way. So a person might make their choice. It might be wrong. And then they have to live with those decisions. Except it's not so easy like it was described in the novel. I think it's quite hard. It's like being tormented for the rest of life, with implications towards an afterlife, like maybe people being demoted in case of reincarnation, or I don't know, going to a bad place if they didn't live right. So that was a very fascinating idea. Foundation is praised for its character development, and it does not disappoint in the realm of love and relationships. The idea is raised, especially in the universe of Isaac Asimov, who develops the idea of a robot advancing to the level of looking like a human and even developing a consciousness like a human. Would it be possible at some point for a robot and a human being to be in a relationship together? Now, this could be a little bit out there for us as readers, but we might translate it in terms of what we would understand. Let's say external differences that prevent people from being in a relationship, like differences in race, religion, class, or age, or any other factors that make it difficult for them to be together because of societal pressure. Well, I would argue we could possibly wipe away all those external differences and look more deeply. Are the two people getting along anyways? Or is it a matter of whatever they did, they just could not make it work? Then it would be a question of congruency in character that is more important, I would say, than these external differences. Having read the first book in the series of Foundation, I ask myself now, was it good enough to merit reading maybe another 6 books following that? And I think the short answer would be yes, because in this one book, I found plenty of ideas, as I already explained, and it's only supposed to be a prelude to the series. The original trilogy is still to come. So let's see what other ideas they can share. I also want to find out what this original pathway of psychohistory will do, and what the other mentioned pathway will be, and I suspect, again along the lines of mystery, that there will be a final twist and surprise that Harry Seldon will go a completely different and unexpected direction. I want to see what that looks like. Besides that, I'm also running this experiment in book reviews. Will each book be good enough to support a video in its own right? Because if I'm making a video series of book reviews, and maybe it takes me weeks or a couple of months to read a book, then can I review these longer pieces, like the Foundation series, or War and Peace, or Les Miserables? Did you get that? Maybe I'll write maybe I'll write the transcript of what I meant to say. So, am I allowed to read these books? If they're interesting to me, then they'll probably make for good videos. So I would say it's worth it to follow our interests and to create something original.